Good morning from Slovenia. It's match day in the UEFA Europa Conference League second qualifying round, second leg. St. Pat's against NS Mura kicks off tonight at 7 p.m. Irish time, 8 p.m. local time. If you're not one of 150 or so St. Pat's fans here, the match will be live on LOI TV. Oisin Langan and Conan Byrne are commentating from the Hilton Hotel in Dublin, the wonders of technology, and we'll be taking live Slovenian TV pictures back to LOI TV for the Pats fans in Ireland and around the world to take in the game. One of those who will be here though is Brian Kerr. He's sitting beside me, and like a lot of Pats fans, he's taken planes, trains and automobiles to get from Dublin to Mura for the game, and was out and about in the town last night. BK, good morning, how are you?
I'm very good, Jamie, and I'm delighted I won't be watching a match from the Hilton Hotel in Dublin. It's much better to be here. I'm very excited about it, I think, as we all are. It's with the tie and the positions in, and us feeling that we have a fair chance of getting through to the next round. It's really, there's a bit of tension about the day, but obviously you're looking forward to the match and hoping that the team can perform and we get the result that we'd love to have to get us through to the next round, which I think would be next week. We'd have to play again next week. So yeah, it's much better to be here than the idea of watching it on the screen and not being able to have any part in the match whatsoever. It was not very enticing, so I, like many others, found a way to get here at fairly short notice. It's not easy at this time of the year for people to get to matches. Obviously flights are booked up, it's holiday time, and flights are expensive, but it still seems like there's a huge band of Pats fans have made their way to Murska Sobota, I think is their venue tonight.
Yeah, we'd love to be able to actually commentate from the match stadium, but unfortunately that wasn't possible, so the next best thing is to book Conan and Oisin in the hotel. So that match pass available for €7, but we're going to talk about some of the St. Pat's fans first of all before we get Brian's views on the game. And how did you get here yourself? What sort of stories did you hear from the supporters last night? And I believe the Bunker Bar has become the new McDowell's for the next couple of days.
Well, I got here, I got a flight to Zurich on Tuesday, and then I had not too long of a wait to get a flight to Vienna. I did an overnight in Vienna, and then I got a bus early at 8 o'clock yesterday morning from Vienna up to Maribor. And then I was fortunate enough to be able to join up with the team's flight that arrived in the aerodrome at Maribor, a not very frequently used airport, and got a lift here. But I've been talking to some of the supporters who left Dublin a lot earlier, who made a bit of a week's holiday over to some degree. Some of them left on Sunday, some came Monday, have stopped along the way in various cities, and I've heard Frankfurt mentioned, obviously Maribor, which is not too far from here, Ljubljana in Slovenia. I think there's people who've gone through Munich, there's people who've gone through all sorts of different ways. Zagreb is relatively near as well, but you know, by hook or by crook, people have got here, and it seems in fairly big numbers. There's a good crowd up in the hostelry that you mentioned, the Bunker Bar last night. Sorry, Jamie, there's
no
my
problemo.
phone. That's
someone looking for Brian to go meet him for an early morning coffee, I suppose.
Maybe so. I don't recognise the number, but anyway.
The Bunker Bar and the fans.
Bunker Bar last night, great crowd there. You know, we maybe 40 or 50, and all in good form, and all, I think, fairly relieved to have got there, because there's a bit of uncertainty. It's not the most accessible place in Slovenia, and I think everyone's very relieved to have got in and settled down and got their bearings and so forth. So by tonight it looks like we might have up to 150 of a group supporting the team.
Yes, St. Pat's fans around. If you don't have your tickets, the Bunker Bar, which is where Brian and a few of the supporters were last night, will be available today between 2 and half 3. Brian Dalton will be there with tickets, so if you don't have one or you need to get one, that's where you can go, and tickets are priced €20, so make sure you do have your ticket, and make sure you can find it, of course, as well, to get into the stadium this evening. Brian, you've been around the supporters, but we're sitting outside the team hotel, and the lads seem in really relaxed form this morning. The training session last night at the match venue went really well, and they, I'm sure, are quite excited and relaxed and stuff, and really probably just wanting kick off to come at this stage.
Yeah, the way they came here again at such short notice, and I know there was great difficulties about getting the flight organised and so on, and there was some disappointment for some of the fans who were hoping that it was going to be a club charter. It didn't quite work out, but when you look at the difficulties many of the clubs are having with travel at the moment, with the trouble at the airports, like the staff, like at planes, like a landing, permission to land and so on, and there's some extraordinary stories. Even Mura themselves last week, when they played us in Richmond Park, were forced to go back through Knock Airport, which seems very strange, but it just shows you the difficulties clubs are having getting their teams to the venues, to the cities. So I think in the case of our team getting here so straightforwardly yesterday was very good, and in this lovely hotel, plenty of time to rest, not a lot of time to acclimatise to warm days, warm night that we'll have probably for the match tonight. But the team do look very relaxed, and I'm sure the last week's game gave them all a bit of confidence, with a couple of players making their debuts in the match, and Harry had only played one game before that against Dundalk. So in those circumstances, I thought the team adjusted very well to the change and to the type of opposition that Mura put out in front of us. And I think they've all gained confidence as a result of the performance in the match. The feeling, I'm sure, is like we all felt watching that we deserved to win the game. We should have really been coming into the night's match with a bit of a lead, but we made enough chances in the game and played with such intensity and enthusiasm that you would be hopeful that tonight we can pull out the result we'd all love to get.
Team news wise, Mark Doyle of course is suspended after that red card in the last minute of the first leg. Adam Murphy will miss out with a hamstring injury, but apart from that, Tim and the management team have a full squad to choose from. You can watch interviews with Tim, with John Daly, Jamie Lennon and Joe Redmond on the St. Pat's YouTube channel and social media pages now. Brian, just lastly on the match itself, it's evenly poised. As you mentioned, we could have won the game last week. Chris Forrester's goal has had so much reaction and reviews, and his performance overall. He was the only starter in the match last week for St. Pat's. He was actually at the club last year. The other 10 are all new players, and as you mentioned, that performance I'm sure will give everybody a huge amount of confidence. How do you see tonight in terms of where it sits? And it wasn't that warm last night at the training at the pit at the stadium when we trained, but it clearly seems like the weather's picked up here, and it'll be close to 30 at kick-off, which might play a factor as well.
Yeah, how do I see their overall balance? I think Mura last week would have been probably surprised with the energy that our team showed, the passion of the fans in the stadium, even though it's only a two-sided ground on European nights, unfortunately. There's no doubt they were fortunate to go ahead and got to go. The team came back very well from that and dominated for long periods of the game. You mentioned Chris getting a great goal, almost came up with another sensational goal, which just slipped away from in the end. The keeper made the save, but we had several other good chances. Tactically, I felt Mura played a very open game. It's unusual to see a team playing almost 4-2-4 as they did last week. 4-4-2, 4-2-4, trying to leave lots of players up the pitch, play early balls over the top. It was a much build-up play from Mura in the middle of the field, I felt, and that gave us a foothold. We were able to get a foothold in the game and got the wing backs into the game very well. Barry Cotter coming in fresh into the club, had a superb game. Anton Breslin did well on the other side, but I think the defensive responsibilities will be required tonight. I think we've got to be nice and compact and not leave ourselves too open. I think Mura probably have a bit more than they showed in the game last week. As a week further on, they've had another game at the weekend, which is interesting that they've actually played a league game at the weekend. They're a team that seems to score goals and concede goals. So you're hopeful tonight that we get some chances, and maybe we'll take those chances. And that's how I see it. It's very finely balanced. The conditions will be warm, but I don't think we should overplay that. I think we should just get on with it. You can make 5 substitutions in the game. It's half your outfield players in the match, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to cope with that and any pressure that comes from Mura and do our own stuff and get results. We'd love to see the club getting.